it appears a people are gradually going into oblivion. I don't want to use the word extinction. Because, as we say, so on my far right is Donald again, retired but not tired, Chief Information Officer of the Royal Majesty of Malaba, Oba Atokwe, and of course, in Nagwekwa, Director of Protocols and Communication of His Royal Majesty Oba Atokwe, Omoyuki Omosa. The Honorable Commissioner to my immediate left. Thank you very much. And of course, the teacher they want to retire, but you cannot retire. Let us start from government angle. Who is just telling me, I don't know what who is in English, but who is telling me when I said it, if I know for Madam and the international community watching us, I once again want to claim the indulgence of Iyase to allow us use English. Iyase Atokwe. Oba Atokwe. Now, please can I have the second microphone? From the government angle, who are we? What is the government doing to ensure that these people, this nation, this culture, these people of great heritage do not go into oblivion? Yes, madam.
Thank you very much for this session again. Well, you've taken permission, so it's okay for the international community. Even though this is a dual language day, we will be permitted to speak in English for this time. I do understand Edo language perfectly, by the way. So, well, from the government angle, a lot is being done. You had some of the creatives from the creative home come up now to address the audience. The focus of Mr. Godwin Obaseki, our very visionary governor of Edo State, is to make sure that art and culture and tourism, especially, remain in the heart of our Edo nation. The first major step he took was to ensure that the culture and tourism stands alone as a pillar of his government. What that means is that whatever we are doing in the arts and culture space, tourism space, is all given top priority by this government. The Ministry of Arts and Culture used to be referred to as Siberia. So if they sent the commissioner there, was as if we were just going to rest, nothing was happening. But we see right now a lot of activities going on in that space. Firstly, just taking it from the very basic foundation, our languages have returned to our schools. A conscious and deliberate effort on the part of government to make sure that from the primary to the first 3 years of secondary school, the junior secondary school, history and languages are part of the curriculum. So we are teaching our children in schools what was our pride as a nation, our heritage, our history, our songs and dances. You can see some of the children who came here today exhibiting that on the stage. The home and the school must work together. And government provides that enabling environment to make sure that happens. In the tourism space, right now we see everything going around the world. Tourism is the new oil. Mr. Governor has devoted his time and thinking towards driving traffic into Edo again through tourism. So if you look around the city right now, you see a lot of development going on here and there. But the central state of all that development is with the Museum of West African Arts. Many of us seated in this room do not realize that what we now call Ring Road was never meant to be Ring Road. That was always referred to as the King Square. So the whole area surrounding the palace, the ground, I mean, if you drive through the Sackler Road area, and when you come close to, okay, let me say, if you drive towards where we have the School of Nursing, where the School of Nursing used to be before, that place used to be the old palace in Benin. That site now is currently where the Museum of West African Arts is being situated, because it wants to transform that whole area to the tourism district of Edo. So every activity happening there right now is centered towards teaching, preserving, and being able to transfer this knowledge to the generations yet unborn. So by the time that museum is finished, it will house a lot of our bits and pieces of our heritage, our history will be captured. There will be visiting exhibitions. And bringing this to the center stage, because there's been a lot of miscommunication about it. So the Museum of West African Arts was never meant to be projected as somewhere to just keep our Benin artifacts. And with permission from the chiefs and everybody present here, it was meant to showcase Edo, for Edo to take its pride of place again, so that all over the world, whatever exhibitions are happening in Geneva, Germany, and the UK, the United States, are able to also visit us in Edo. So at the very foundation, we bring back to stage what we represent as the people. That's what this government is doing. So by the time it's completed, it's going to have visiting exhibitions from all over the world come here to bring people to showcase things that we didn't know were part of our history. And there's been a lot of archaeological excavations on that site. Things have been dug up that were part of our history that we did not even know existed. And they are there for us to see. So to go back to what you're saying, what the government is doing, government is deliberate about bringing arts, culture, and tourism to the center stage again in Edo. Because that's a huge part of our heritage.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Because you are the mouthpiece of government, we have to give you that late. So that you have enough time to try and convince somebody like me. Thank God now, but you are in. So, as somebody who has seen the inside and the outside, you are still half here, half there, or your family have relocated from Europe, so you are half here, half there. Now, what do you think? Is it true? Can it be true that the United Nations is right to say in about 50 years, Edo language is one of those languages that will extinct? Do you think the United Nations is right about that? Or more you give, if no more.
Although I thought very Nigerian, you are putting me on the hot seat. This is quite an impromptu interview, so to speak. Because I got post, I got in here, that was where I was told. Will probably be one of the discussants.
They were saying, I get better country.
You just showed that speaking of the language. You just showed it out, but yet you are speaking it. Any my way, I don't know what I'm doing in the car. What I'm saying, what we started in my way. Truth be told, the question you asked is a double-edged subject kind of question. But let me try as much as possible to speak on that topic from within the power of knowledge or within the limit of my knowledge. First, let me start by defining the word language to the best of our knowledge. The language that is in context here can be defined as a vehicle, human vehicle, through which ideas, feelings, emotions, and otherwise are communicated within a given set of people. That being as it may, talking about our language, Edo language, or Benin to be very precise. Like I quite said earlier on, I think this is a kind of double-edged like kind of question. The onus lies on all of us. Because Edo says, if woman will work, usually, in other words, charity they say begins at home. A language can never, I repeat, I'm able to say it because I am a very proud, unapologetic son of the soil. I don't get there when I have women. But I'm here and I want to walk and be on a carry one way, you and they open anything. To somebody again and I will get up. I'm very apologetic about that language. If you don't know it, you don't know what I've said, ask your next door neighbor. I don't want to be too long on trying to explain why I have or I'm of the opinion that the language will not go into extinction. At initial, you did make mention of one particular slogan in the language where you said, no matter how what we want and be, there will be somebody left to tell the story. With people like you, preserving our cultural heritage and traditional values. Like my father here said, the years of Benin, who is a poet, a storyteller, a writer, and a very responsible chief, and father to most of us, or rather to the entire Benin kingdom. Apart from Oba Ewa Ogenigan II, who is our overall father. He is an icon to most of us. We all emulate his ways, try to borrow a leaf from his plant at least, or borrow a page from his books, his numerous books. We have our father here too seated. Chief Oseni Yeo, the Edoka of Benin, is also a poet, a writer. He is very dynamic in his way of writing and lecturing. With people like this, who has inspired most of us, I don't think the Edo language will ever go into extinction or even close to it. If we on our own play our role as people who doesn't want to go into extinction. Because Owara Liara and our royal father, His Royal Majesty of Oba Edo Ly II, in his coronation speech, this nation, please allow me to quote it verbally. He said, and I quote, let us try as much as possible to make sure we speak our local dialect, our language, with our thoughts, with our words, so that whatever we teach them today will never be forgotten in a hurry. If you are proud of where you come from, you should be proud of your language, because your language, our language, is our identity. Whosoever has no identity is lost to these people cause their integrity.
Sir, thank you very much. Let me go to our teacher. Mr. Okunzuwa. I first of all want to ask. Your first name is Frederick. Frederick. Is there a particular reason? And I'm sure all your children go by Oyibo name. Because I told myself, until Eliza, who just passed on, Queen, will give any of her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, Benin name, my children will not answer English name. Is there any particular reason why you and your children answer this Eliza name?
About the way is there. I have 3 names. Frederick, Sabudami, Okunzuwa. All my children are relative names. Their no names are Edo names. Because you are living in a civilized world, most of the time they prepare to write your English first, then followed by your basic name. Thank you very much.
Is it actually civilization? Is it actually civilization? Because the Benin nation was already civilized. So civilized that the Portuguese borrowed street lights from here. So civilized that what we now have, Sokomba Road and Apapa, they were as wide as 8 lanes. So what is the civilization now? Answering Oyibo name.
Well, I would say it's very grand to answer Oyibo name.
It is fine.
So far, I put Edo name in between. I'm going to use Sabudami, Okunzuwa. Only the Frederick is English name.
Good.
So I have all the English to do in my name.
Very good. Wesley. As a teacher, I don't want to say a retired teacher. Because if you come around where children are now, the thing in you as a teacher will still come up. But when you see those children, like when just my teacher, hey, this man taught me in secondary school, this man taught me. There's that thing in you that will still push you to want to teach. Ebenezer Old Students Association, they sent me, please, are you coming with teaching? The other day, St. Maria Goretti, they were organizing their own students, own guests. Please, you will come one of our teachers. And all that. So there is this thing, a teacher does not retire. What do you think we can do to continue the propagation of the Edo language?
Thank you very much. From the onset, I think the government has made Edo language mandatory to taught in school. But you see the more. Schools in those states are mostly private school and government school. I feel that most of the private school don't teach Edo language. Then government make it mandatory that both private schools and government schools Edo language should be taught. And also that to pass from JSC to SS1, you must pass Edo as credit to take it to SS1. Either way you know, the ministries will put more interest in Edo language. Then 2, we our parents should learn to speak Edo language to our children at home. We should not be shy of being Edo. When we go to offices where you have Edo people, talk to them in Edo language. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. To become. Thank you very much. Let me first of all commend your beautiful attire.
Worship.
Yes, a lot of us do not know, particularly the younger generation, do not know that this, what we call Benin language has dialects. In your place, Uronipe, truly when Uronipe speaks, those of us from Ijekobia, we hardly understand. The Benin man will say, Bojehe, Uronipe will say, Uma. For somebody, those of us from Ijekobia, Uma, it will sound like an insult. But Uronipe and Ewusi, Urome, and all those places is Uma. So there are dialects in this our language. Is it okay to harmonize? The Edoba Yoga of Benin mentioned when he was making his delivery. The attempt they made to try to harmonize all the 500 and something dialects they do speak into one. Do you think we can start from home without one where a woman will walk? Thank you.
Talk with. Don't money man. Monobana do a talk with.
This right.
Okay, now I don't want to see you. I do a story about with Papa. It's when they did not way in the yard one kind and every my video. I don't know where in I had doom. In I had Z way in I had one. Maybe I always see how I said it. Yeah, anything that I year school. Take care where I didn't know I must see. How I quiet doing and I quiet doing. You know, actually, it's that over the bill. But I know we'll be paying the area. We'll be my and don't have the only one who will power. As a matter the only one. You know, we are really as a lawyer, as a way to be man. You know, I don't have why. One day, only after one day, man, who you know. Tell me as you are here by my wife. She no longer. But there where me na yele se o do ni ale me no yele ni a ele ko na be kana na le ko na be kwa kana pa be me o ale me le ko ni a se America o se ni a be ko ga ni ale se Britain in the UK or nearly Canada, we were not work very on I know the operating. But only when not when as the only one as the everybody where fire when I said to Mona, we do a lot of things. No palate recuerdo te iba a hacer pollo. When I came to any other, you did the no lie. If Benin attack on the near right, you are not speaking. Well, instead of BENIN, there will be INI. So, I can't ta. The yes, why we go to the Benin. That's not from my view. In the matter of now, why not have a and it will lie in Biblium. My year school, ex my year school,
Come back to school, all said to be 999. No, I said to don't all said 999. The man had to wire boy. Joe do and do. And I said it was. And I said it was. So, look at the rock. My name be more. My way. My said to my demand. I very much I know where I will no man. So, when you are in a woman, you pull me back there. I know where. Then no, we are ordinary people say it's a very type. You get one over. One will get one boom. You get those little. Why would not get it? Always will not get it. That I'm not my. But so many are now. I'm moving anywhere. You may I do. I'm my. So. You may want me where my married said, Mass with my and I said it on there. No matter. We want to go out and I say, I don't mind this, but but I said to them, now I'll buy your back, the Japa, and million.
We'll see. Unapologetically, I am a Benin. From the cradle to the day I will die. I so believe that I have told my children, in like Betty Oini, to connect one parliament. Please, the reason we are also trying to speak this government for the international community. The reason that what can we do? And not that will be a lot of us here are still managing, trying to understand the need, but we can inculcate it in them when they get to understand it first in English, which they are already used to, and then begin to move from there. Part of our cultural heritage is our dress sense. Our dress sense. A lot of our children, they are now wearing this scattered or tattered, whatever I call rugged, like that. And they live home where the parents are. There are a lot of our children who do not even have this like my dear brother Chief is wearing today. Not now the Ewoka is different. Even the way it is sewn is different. But I went to Morocco. So, sir, do you also think that it is a way to keep this culture, to keep this language, if we can keep the dress culture of people? And maybe because of the international audience,
I don't play to international. I don't think we are supposed to play to them.
okay,
I don't think we are supposed to play.
as a book,
But in my system, but this situation, we are not supposed to play to them. Supposed to. But what Mr. Okozo was saying, he was trying to explain, we need this because of certification. Because we have subordinated our value system to the European Western culture. And that's why our parents gave us the name they gave us. John, James, Peter, Sunday, it is supportation of our culture. And again, when we sit down here and start speaking, we talk about the international community. We are further subordinating. The fact that you are insisting that, but again, you said you are dressed the way you dress. You are dressed the way you dress. The way you dress is very, very essential. You want to project. In fact, the Omonaba said he was the biggest cultural ambassador of the Benin Kingdom throughout his stay as diplomat, because he was dressed in a manner that you don't need to ask questions. Oh, wait, if coming here, step from here now, come. People are going to react to him. They are going to ask questions. Somebody will say, I know this is from Benin. So you don't need to tell them I'm from Benin. So therefore, the way you dress matters a great deal. When you talk of cultural dynamism, the very first thing that people should take is how you project yourself. In terms of how do you dress, your courage, the way the song they said this the doctor who sang it just now that in Nigeria the Benin and zero. And that itself will therefore give you out as somebody who is responsible. Sometimes if you are not, I was going to Lagos and from Benin airport here. I was wearing from the airport, down the airport, and meanwhile, nobody. Just because I think I was, and there was no big deal about it. It was just the costume that I was putting on. And I got to, nobody bothered to say, I got to Lagos. But if I just wear one jeans with tata something, you say, stay there. I think dressing is essential. How you dress is essential. I'm not saying one get fabric. How do you put it on? If I can tell you what I'm putting on, I just cannot. You can't believe it. But there are people that I've seen here, what the fabric they are wearing can buy this, make 3 of this, 5 of this. But when I came in, there were reactions. When the chief came in, our chief that attended the other, he just came in. It was only for the started getting up and checking. But if you wore a jeans, even if you were representing the upper party line, nobody will do mind. So your dressing code is essential. As a matter of fact, dressing is part of the language. Part of the language, part of the way you can communicate to somebody. Also tell you somebody walking here, a man, put the earring below, put the earring here. Even if you get it biggest academic at this one, people will just look at one of these things. So I think dressing is very, very essential in propagation of culture.
Yes, not just so. As the Director of Protocol and Communication for Royal Majesty, we see a lot of still on a dress culture. We'll see people who have not had the privilege of the Oba of Benin. Everywhere you go, I was at a marriage yesterday. I don't know what to call him. But dress him as a Nikon who would be too good for him. He was putting on Ikele. He used the Ikele. I called him aside. Who are you? Telling me story. He saw it in his father's room. The father just had it there. Was never a chief, not a John or anything. When you say people, it's all part of the Yahoo. So you don't have the right to hear this. If those from the people who have the authority were here now, they'll take it from you and you will feel embarrassed and disgraced. So why not go and keep it? Just history. Okay. I don't care. I will do a time on my way. Well, I think maybe I think and I go back. Say that. We have a lot of them now. Obituaries, weddings, everything. You will see some of them so dressed like a no-gi. You will even go there because you are not a no-gi at all for him. When I no-gi. You will see. So, what can we do? What can we do? Number 8 year one. Not yet compare with your background, we never talk to him. Make a pronouncement at a time. The cultural groups get the wedding. That was the time. Now the GKL Yaha, the number anyway, and a lot of other things. What do you think we can do? Where did we get it wrong? How can we now correct it? It's all part of the culture. We're saying.
Like I said at the initial, within my YouTube sphere of knowledge, I will try as much as possible to do justice to the questions you just put before me. You said something a while ago, said the apple does not fall far from the tree. What you don't have, there's no way you can give it. I will attribute their behavioral pattern to lack of knowledge and awareness. And that is where we that are close to the palace, chiefs that are ennobled, palace functionaries, and emissaries, to take it upon ourselves to try as much as possible that in any nook and crannies we go on, as much as possible to correct it like you rightly did. His Royal Majesty Omonoba and Oku Ewa Benin II does say before our own very eyes, because I belong to the Wegway Palace Society, the Administrative Department of the Palace. We are well grounded in the seniorities of the Oba. If our royal father is here, gesticulation, movements of all parts of his body, it's a message to the Wegway Palace Society. And if you don't know, you will be left behind. So we are taking it upon ourselves to try as much as possible to educate and propagate our beautiful and robust culture anywhere we go. Being Kele, like Randy said, is the wrong therapy. If you are not ennobled by the Oba, who reserve exclusive right to do so, you can never have done it anywhere. Under the surface of this earth, you can never. And though I can't tell you, we know how to walk that loop. We try as much as possible, even outside the shores of this country, to educate a whole lot of them. 2020, to be precise, Chipopa Sogie of blessed memory, myself.
Sorry, your pastor is here.
No, sorry, the father of the Obasogi, Edu Ekato of blessed memory. Thank you very much for the correction. Chief Edu Ekato corrected a whole lot of abnormalities like that in Torino City of it to be precise. Even in Rome, we did the same thing. Because they know where a Beya Bala or Kamoba, no Nakman, a Beya or Yaka, no by AK, you must be able to put forth for the palace of the institution where you should represent. If there's anything going wrong, it's your responsibility. And as a non-native, if you don't know, ask questions. But once you are aware, once you know, and then why. Once you are aware and fall short of such behavioral pattern, then the wrath of the ancestors must visit the person. Take it or leave it, whether now or later. We'll try as much as possible to continue to sensitize everybody who cares to listen. Because right before His Royal Majesty, whenever visitors visit, His Royal Majesty will ask, or I am my one I'm or carrying on. The person she got that corrupt. If he is dressed like an enogi, we'll send forth emissaries to him to get his identity, to get his detail, so that he will be very, very well introduced. But if it's not, it's story for another day. The rest is history.
Thank you very much. Madam Commissioner, Madam Government, I must first of all truly appreciate His Excellency Godwin Nogueira's person. He said the language is back to the school curriculum. We appreciate that. And, history perhaps. Thank you very much. Good for you. You said you do understand the you might be way. Commission like it. Thank you very much. Now we are aware. Is it also possible? Minister of Education here represented. Wakao. We can send back. Is it possible for the government to make it like Mr. Kunzuwa suggested? Is it possible for the government to make it compulsory? Make it compulsory. When I went to in Lagos, not even in the villages of Yoruba, I was forced to add Yoruba to it to make number 9. I had to be studying Yoruba. Is it possible for government to make it compulsory, particularly in the private schools? Because that is where you now have the majority of students, private schools, to make sure from primary 1 to JS3, you must study. If you are in Edo South, Benin is compulsory. If you are in Edo Central, Esan is compulsory. If you are in Edo North, Onwa is compulsory. In Afama Isako, Afama is compulsory. If you are in Akoko Edo, it is compulsory. Apart from the Yoruba, which is the general language of the Akoko Edo people, they have their indigenous languages. So, is it possible? What do you think the government can do to entrench this?
Okay, your question is in twofold. So I'm going to maybe address them separately. The first one, I believe, what you're asking is, should we, as Mr. Kuntua just rightly highlighted, should we make it a part of our examination process so that there will be a complete buy-in when the children know that if I don't pass this, I cannot go on to the next step. And then the second one is to include it in their curriculum. So that's what you asked me. So for the first one, the Edo Best, I'm glad we have some educationists in the room here. You know, when we started the Edo Best, which is the Edo Basic Education System Transformation, it was in phases. So the first phase addressed just the primary level, which is from primary 1 to 6 of our primary school education system in Nigeria. And the second phase, the Edo Best 2.0, now included JS 1 to 3, which is the junior school of secondary schools. And so it was addressed firstly from the primary level. So when we say they started to, when the government gave the directive for languages and history to be brought back into the school curriculum, it was addressed from the primary school level. But you know, as the children go through the years and move on to the secondary, it is a gradual progression. So you're teaching them first from the primary level, and then they move on to the junior school, which is where they now write those examinations to go into the senior school level, as they do in other schools under the 6334 system that Nigeria operates. So we have done that successfully in the primary school. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we've done that correct and effectively with the primary school. It's now in the secondary schools, and they are teaching it already. And I think I cannot be 100% sure that it is compulsory actually to write the examinations in those languages. Madam, you can answer. Yeah? Edo language examination. Okay. Thank you very much. So I always like that we have first-hand information wherever possible. So she's the representative of the Ministry of Education here. She has told us it's already part of the process here. So, and then secondly, for the second question you asked, how do we get the private schools to get involved in this process? The directive from Mr. Governor was not only for public schools, by the way. It was for all schools in Edo State. But you know what we keep hearing is that because of some resource issues, they cannot pay the language teachers. We don't have enough language teachers in Edo State, and some other excuses. Some of them do not yet have it. I was actually talking to a very senior member of government who also is in education, and he said in his private school, Edo language is compulsory. So I don't think that it is fair for us to say that all the public schools are not also adopting the language in school. Some of them are, but I know not way to go. So yes, it's a key part of what we are doing as government, putting in more than enough sufficient resources to make sure that we have enough language teachers in our schools, and the children are actually writing the examinations in the schools. It may not be everywhere yet, but we have been doing it.
Thank you very much. Let me just quickly see who the microphone now. We are rounding up. In your ministry, a lot of programs have come up. I hope there is continuity, because It is the ministry that is in charge of my everyday life. We have Victor Wife, we have Akiri, we have Sazej, and these three persons that I worked with closely, they have programs. And these programs really came up something, something like my brother here, Sazej, of 7 did something novel, unprecedented. Can you keep that culture?
I'm really happy that when my immediate past Commissioner for Arts, Culture and Tourism came up on stage, he said the key part of what the Obaseki administration is doing is ensuring that there is continuity in what we do. Because of individual differences sometimes, some deliberately push that aside. But since I resumed office less than 2 months ago, I have been very deliberate about not pushing anything that's already in the will aside. In fact, the first person I called when I resumed office was I'm really happy to have my Osaze with us here this afternoon. Osaze did a lot of things that were, ahead of his time. And if we must continue to, practice what we are preaching about continuity, I don't see why I should stop any of them. So I reached out to him and said, okay, bro, I'm reading out all your files and I'm going to be coming back to you from time to time. We must continue these things. So there is none of the projects that was then started by Osaze, continued by Dele Obaiton, that we have dropped. There's going to be continuity.
We will call it, we will anchor it at this point. Madam Commissioner, now you hold the knife, now you hold the butter, now you still hold the bread. If we must move it, it is with you. Sazay has done his own, Baiton has done his own, even Victor Waiko has done his own. May his soul rest in peace profound. So, let me just have a final word on all these things from each and every one. So, to whom what? Sir.
I have to speak on what the question said. I don't is trying like this. There's something I'm seeing. People should always call enforcement units. When you put the law, there are primary school. I tell you what your primary school because I teach primary school and there. There are ways primary school is great here, don't have and I don't to mention it. There's some big schools in this state. They can pay teachers, they can pay normal teachers, don't to employ. I asked for the same where parents of the students said the judgment was not good, so the dollar is difficult for them to script off. So let's see that in every private school, if they don't enroll a language yesterday, the result of education will not accept the Nigerian.
Thank you very much. So, Madam Commissioner, final word.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kunzwa.
I think I enjoyed what you have been doing, but I think I would have enjoyed it more if you spoke Benin. Everything you are supposed to do here today is out there. I do not know why you when they are meeting, okay.
I don't language day, that's what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's it about? Any state to go when away. When you're home, when we just say, we come here, we college, I can't get on. West.
Yes, all we have college.
Awake Papania, Nagazedo. Obara top West Baba. Opa Okunzuwa. Akarawe Majiji, Benin. Arrêtez bien, ouais, à ce qu'on a dit, les nouveaux, nous a prié. Et bien, il a cette où, ne vous n'avez pas sénat, n'est-ce du coup, n'est-ce du bien, n'est-ce qui est, on t'est arriva, n'est-ce pas, bah, où,
donc, on a dit, ouais, tu vois. Every kata si itai we esuku oga yoba kine ni mamubo ni awetu esuku di bu no waro ni mamubo ni awetu yo eso aha we oruwe eso aha we yen ya asa the abetisa ni waro bi awon awu ye mo ni awetu da ye we ile school ni amali eni ekwe ni awe to anya gwale everybody bele taisi awe esu ko ga yo ba kele me owe ka mugbo ni awe eto ariso wa was ariso wa ebi bi omo bi ama ibi ya edu na awe isimu na aya zetu to mo ni wa
we see Ukarioba, USA. Nina, the Nuwegi Jaji, Nuwegi Honia, where Arioba Tedo, Gassetu, Iya say a tope. Opona no rewa na Ukarioba, Akarioba, Mujo. Arioba nia, do ya say akoko edo ya say utafema peya, igba oge. Nala o baba, iya say a tope. Aderi yopa. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ Ukarioba n'ọmọ Arioba yọ n'ọmọ ìnágbó ẹ̀ ilé ẹjọ́ ní àwọn ẹ̀yìn ní àjí ọbí màníkẹ́ ẹjọ́ mẹ́rin kò tẹ́sán kéde. Ọ̀tọ́ pẹ̀lú.
Don't worry, yes, and not pass the commissioner of Zipo. Not pass the commissioner of Zipo. That Kesako, Conwa, Abuki Managua.
Okay, commissioner.
Or commissioner. What's up?
Yes, sir, top Oba top Okay. Bulu.
Yes, go.
Ure sound Oba or Igwe Rande Neneme Ogetano. And on a sound Oba or a several woman. So, wow, Bruno. He said may I have my co-panelists there. Everywhere, as government, here at me, on a game now. I wear. It's supposed to have the corona is the that lady. Yes, I've tried my best.
Thank you very much.
So I represent a group where we are actually in danger of losing our language. That's why I'm sitting here today, because it's such a big concern for me. I grew up in a home where we had different languages spoken by my father. I actually have Benin in my house, Ora in my house, and Ishan. So those three languages were always in competition. Nobody made a deliberate effort to teach us. What I have of my Ishan is what I learned from the helps and other people around us. So there was no deliberate effort to teach me any language. In fact, I was made to speak only English. And where I spoke in another language, I could be penalized. I do not blame my parents, because it may have been, it was the reality at the time. So I come from a home where my mother was a Queen School person, so it was English. That was what was happening at the time. So I do not blame them. So yes, with your permission. Thank you. Thank you. So I will address the international community now. We've had everything has been said today, and it's because of things like this that we're making this effort as a government to actually create more awareness of the fact that the United Nations have told us categorically, it's research, it's proven that half of the world will lose their language by 2100 if we do not speak it, if we're not deliberately communicating in our own language. So it is a conscious effort of government to make sure that that language does not go extinct. Your language is your identity. That's my passing word. If you don't speak it, you are going to lose it. I thank Ms. Basoge for this great initiative. I thank all the elders in Toronto, Canada. They're watching us. This program is live, and they're seeing this great work being done here today. It was someone's thinking. I celebrate them. I speak on behalf of the Edo State government to say that as long as we are here, this will be sustained. This will be a yearly program. So I thank you all for coming as well, and welcome to Edo again.
Thank you very much, Madam Commissioner. Omoyegi Momosa, the Benin, we are here.
Oba Tokbe
Say,
Away Taya Siemeta. So far, if you will be a cacanes to be a kid, or you kid. Or what bigger who know what Haga the man you say. All that is what we benera no kunogi weapons of what. A cacaboron. I have ties of the Iwoki. Ugirani matumana de ne. Oge do eno. Ewo ni ohun pataki eno. Runda eri mahia odone do won o pare kan do de kegwa sare ewa ogidi gan lo give up. Ota ese yo. Osa kadamunu ke kwaro. So kegan we ni mala zedo runda e ko ma pe wo kwa e yoe Charity, they say, begin at home. Imahia will deco there. Katakatari ni bimo. Ale ma ya no besi kedo. Imahia. Imahagwi mwa. Iya la se pena ko imahia fe. Isiawe. Emaredo. Imahia fe ni kware. Ima o naredo. La ijedo jeke. De go me du wole ma kanabe. Ata ku beni mayamu ke. Ya ni maya fe mako asiyo. Navega unyi meni ve eve na hea wataze ukumu imaido a bosu mesi bere de ariota ona ibere me ya di bode di maya all sick there no to achieve this all hands must be on deck rakpa yopa egbe ewo agmewo na ye otedo ya o ko pimo newo regenete na la owo na ye ya je yo tabe ne ge kai ọba àtọpẹrẹ
ìwé ọkà yìí dọmọ yà sẹ ọdọmọ ẹdọwẹ a máa zẹ wọ àwòrán ẹrẹ ní yàsẹ wà lọ ìdẹgbẹ ọyẹ tí wàá kàbọ jẹ ayẹyẹ náà bá sùn ẹ àtẹrẹ náà ọ̀nà àbọ̀ ẹni sọ ìpàdé táyà ọ̀nà àbọ̀ máa yí zẹ bọ àṣàlẹ. Hallelujah. Ni o ni yo no ka no ni pome abe di mane de Canada, America, UK no mu na so. Ni ya mweso. Sa pare ni ka no die eti de mania ni ya adwe pupo. Yo ni le asifena ni maya fe we Malao ma kabos yagbada tonu wewe naga mama idima kina ya zedoe keri na le yakmo da wa no so ikona kabon musi we abi zote abi bon da wa mo ni yona kabon lu upana zuma wa bo mana ko se ma do e dia de pele mo. So I saw it on the other one. If not a story where Mamma Bars woman, I'm not away going now not a moyo in my car. My answer, my pool that we were putting my area time in my car quite level or the job in okay. So talk up on we have Norris one idea by Nana. Wala wa get si wa get onyo wa get na wa na ka bo di pe yo na bi na mo so we no pe mo ba ne do atope
wa ya fe wa we se iya se atope ba de wa ya fe ya we se mena de ne oda swe omuhe lo adege aye sie guru Kakaka, alali ìgbàjọ́ wẹ́ ọ̀gá dùnà, àìsẹ́gbẹ́zọ́mà dùnà, ọ̀gá dùnà, alákòwá sùnwẹ́, rúdàbínà táìsín, òwá ẹ̀ẹ́rùn kí máa pa. Ègbé yàfẹ́ àyàkí aláwẹ̀, òwò ẹ máa mú ẹ̀ ìdádákẹ́ ìrèlé. Ọ̀yá jẹ́ ìṣàpò yàsọ̀ ẹ̀mú dáadáa nínú ẹ̀ẹ́rìn lórí kẹgà ẹ̀ẹ́rìn lọ́rárẹ̀ ọ̀gẹ̀gùn náà àìkè bá sùn ẹ̀ gàdí ayé ọmọ bí apá àyàn wáre ìtàláwẹ̀ lọ́mú gba òsàpá ẹ̀rìn lòdì ẹ̀ ọmọ bí apọ̀ mú fún ẹ̀ gbogbo ìlọ́mọ kẹ́kẹ́ ọ̀nà lórí bẹ́ẹ̀gì èyí akínyẹ̀ lọ́gídà pàmùsálẹ̀. Na lamo aga gelewe aga yegbayo aga ewe ori tesi pe asigbise aga kiwe igbele edo na zedo na tete na zuma ọmọ nọmba nẹbi wà tó pẹ̀lú wàyí akẹrẹ wà lọsí òbíọba òkúnṣùwà èyí máa ń kọmíṣánná òbíọba ọmọ igi bí ọba ọdẹrùgẹ wáyà pẹrẹ wà lọsẹ èyí ọsẹ ìmá.